But we've got a new voice of liberty on the Atlanta radio, WSB 750, and now 95.5 FM. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the coolest lady in town. She's so libertarian, she claims she scares Ron Paul. Let's give a big Atlanta welcome for Monica Perez.
I think I'm the only radio show host who actually screens in the Ron Paul supporters instead of screening them out. And it's because I am a Ron Paul supporter, and I come from a long line of Ron Paul supporters. I didn't even realize how long a line it was until my mother told me just the other day. She said, you know, like 15 years ago, I would see these Ron Paul brochures lying around the house, and I would say to your father, George, what are you giving this congressman 1,500 miles away money for? We barely have money for groceries. And he said, Irene, he's the only good one. He's the only hope. So she said, okay, we'll eat beans, send it to Ron Paul. And, but I didn't get it. I was totally oblivious. And sometime later, in 2005, I moved to Houston. And one of my sisters called me and said, Monica, you're moving to Houston. That's where Ron Paul is. And I said, who? She said, Ron Paul. He's the only libertarian congressman. He's the only one who voted against the USA Patriot Act. And I said, oh yeah, I remember that guy. He's from like Minneapolis. She said, no, he's from Houston. And I had little kids. I moved a lot. I was a libertarian philosophically, but I just wasn't that engaged, and things weren't that bad. So I just said, oh, that's great, awesome, whatever. And then I moved to California. And I thought, if you're not afraid of government, move to California for a couple of years, because a couple of years down the road, that's what you're gonna get. And it was during the 2008 presidential campaign, and you would see all these Soviet-style signs for Obama in every window, and then you'd see McCain on the other side, and I was like, okay, where are those Ron Paul stickers? So I started putting the magnets on. I had like 15 Ron Paul t-shirts. Who was Ron Paul? Ron Paul 2008. And I was really, I started to get it, but I remember thinking, like, nothing is getting me going door to door, never going to a rally or a protest. You know, I'll put the sticker on, but that's it. Well, I went, not too long after that, I came back east, and Obamacare was in the offing, and I was getting off the couch. I said, that's it. Now I know what's gonna get me to go door to door, pound the pavement, and I went to Washington to protest Obamacare 3 times. Woo! And the last time I went, it was, you know, you kind of knew it was going to happen. It was like on Easter or Palm Sunday, something just awful. But I stayed up, I knew it was a losing battle. But I stayed up the night before for like 3 or 4 hours making this awesome sign. It had like stars and stripes. I think it had a little blood dripping off the letters. And it said, tyranny today, revolution tomorrow. I was so into it, and I went and I took it and I went and I was on the lawn, and a lot of people there, all the Tea Partiers. There was just like kind of a big empty space around me. People were like, that's a little aggro. Tea Partiers are ladies and gentlemen, whatever. Well, by the end of the day, we were up towards the Congress building, and all these congressional aides were out on the balcony. They were like jeering at us and taunting us. Really, it was for sure on purpose. They were making fun of us, trying to get us to do something stupid, and people were getting mad. So all of a sudden, everybody's around me. I've got the sign, they're pushing me to the front. Read her sign, read her sign. And so the Congress windows were open, and I thought, they're in there voting. Ron Paul's in there. And so I started going, Ron Paul, Ron Paul, Ron Paul. And the guys, the Tea Party guys around me said, you know, you're gonna lose the crowd. Cut it out. I said, lose the crowd? These people don't get it? Come on, you know, lose the crowd. We're losing the battle. We're losing the war. I was so disheartened. I put that beautiful sign. It took me so long. I left it and I went home, really. I was so depressed. But then something started happening. And you started seeing, like, people knew who Ron Paul was. My t-shirt didn't make sense anymore. And in Iowa, you know, he got more than 20%. In Maine, he got more than 30%. And those were just the votes they counted. So people know who Ron Paul is, but not everybody gets it yet. So, I watched that South Carolina debate where he's up there and he's saying, let's use the golden rule in our foreign policy. And these people who are well regarded as Christian conservatives start booing him. And he's not, it was crazy. And instead of being a normal politician who's like, oh, I didn't really mean that, he starts shouting over them. I beg of you, we don't need another war. They're booing this guy, this little guy up there. And he says, and they're saying to him, no. And I looked up and I had tears in my eyes, really, literally. And I said, that guy stands alone. He just stands up there, nobody's with him, and I just, it really moved me. So when Ron and James said, come to the rally, I thought, that's easy. To hang out with liberty-loving people, like-minded people who get it, that's easy. What could be better than that? I thought, well, it would be better if Ron Paul were here, and I'll tell you, if he were here, there is one thing I would say to him. Dr. Paul, you are not alone. And here we are, and I just want, keep up the good work. I'm going to do my part. Have the show 7:50 a.m. Saturdays at 10. Call, I'll put you on. Let's deliver the best Super Tuesday for Ron Paul here in Georgia. And I'm Monica Perez. Thank you. Woo!